Welcome, parents of RSI Class of 2022. It's really wonderful that so many of you are joining us today. Almost 40 years ago, this remarkable summer research program was started to bring talented, passionate, rising seniors to a college campus where they would be matched with mentors who would work one-on-one with them as they did original research in a field of their interest. They would meet and live with others who were similarly engaged and form a community of scholars. Other than the cost of getting to the program, scholars and their families paid nothing for this remarkable experience. At the end of the summer, the community would continue and the friendships endure for a lifetime. CEE continued to support the scholars as they applied to college and even beyond. Now your sons and daughters are part of this amazing community, and today we want to usher you, their parents, into it as well. My name is Susan Schwartz-Wildstrom, and my son Jake attended RSI in 1997. I also taught high school math for 50 years, and during that time, a number of my own students attended RSI, with at least one of them eventually becoming a mentor. By now, your children have returned home from what was probably the most incredible experience of their lives to date. If my experience 25 years ago is any example, the scholars have probably not stopped talking about their time at RSI. Today's Zoom session is meant to welcome you to our extended family. This unique Zoom welcome session has been organized by Charles Farmer, CEE's extraordinary Director of Development, building relationships with individuals and organizations to secure philanthropic support for CEE. And through his outstanding effort, we are able to offer RSI at no cost to participants. Many of us who are here today serve on a parent committee chaired by Doug Himberger, who is also joining us today. He's been on the board of trustees of CEE for nearly 20 years and chair of our parents group for 5. First, I'd like to turn the floor over to Doug for any remarks he might wish to make.
Thank all of you for your scholars, for the children that you have sent to this center and had this experience that Susan described. Thank you. I want to welcome you all. As Susan said, I've been on the board for the center for about 20 years now. I think the most remarkable thing in all those years has been the community that's being built, that continues to be built every year. And I think that certainly the experience in any summer is amazing, and I think your children can support that. But I would tell you that the community that you're about to be part of, that they are about to be part of, is something that I've not seen anywhere else. It's really, it is beyond compare. And I think you'll get a sense of that as time passes. So welcome. I look forward to all of the remarks by the parents and the scholars, and I look forward to your questions.
Thanks, Doug. Now we're going to hear from some parents. We'll start with Tina and Howard Kesselheim.
Hi, we're Tina and Howard Kesselheim. We were lucky enough to have 2 sons attend RSI. Our oldest son, Aaron, went to RSI in 1991. It was over 30 years ago. He attended it when it was originally in Washington, D.C. Our son, Jared, also attended RSI. Both live in the Boston area right now. Aaron is in academics and is a current mentor and has been for a few years of RSI scholars. He's a professor at Yale and at Harvard and truly enjoys being with the kids and helping them look forward to their years in after high school, going into college and professional schools and work. Jared is in private equity. He does electronic medical records with his company, and inevitably we will be at a soccer game or we'll be at a lacrosse game, and one of our sons will be talking to somebody. I'll say, "Oh, how do you know that person?" "Oh, that's an RSI guy," or "Oh, that's an RSI person." The kids will get introduced. Right now, they're concerned about colleges, we're sure, but they will get introduced to lots of companies leaders and a lot of alumni that are professionals all around the globe. It has been a wonderful family to be part of. Thank you. We're going to now pass the baton to Gunli G, who'll be talking.
Yeah, thank you so much. So my son Yuqing here, and he joined the RSI, I think in 2017. He really loved this so much. Actually, before he was trying to get the RSI, he prepared a lot, so tried to get him because I think he heard a lot of wonderful things about the RSI before. So during his stay in the RSI just for 6 weeks, and he really got involved to know a lot of good people, a lot of good friends, and also he got inspired by MIT, of course, a lot, because this is a good opportunity for him to know the university, especially the top 2 universities, Harvard and MIT, and he really got inspired by that. So and then because he's so interested in MIT, so then when he started to apply the college, he really got a lot of help information for there, so he can put a lot of useful information in the application material. So that's why he probably helped him to get into the MIT. And of course, during this stage, he has made a lot of good friends, and I think this impact is lifetime long. It's not just for those 6 weeks. And this also not just impact the students, also impact myself, because I'm now a professor at the University of Massachusetts, at Lowell. So, and also I try to also help my students here, especially the local high school students, also do some research in my lab. I know this is very important.
Thank you. Next, we'll have Judy Rosman.
Hi there, everybody. I'm so excited to be here and help welcome the other RSI parents. My son, Evan Vogelbaum, was an RSI scholar in class of 18, and then he was a counselor subsequently for the other RSI kids, class of 19. I want to share with you what an incredible benefit RSI has been with respect to internship. When you're starting college, you have to have something to do in between that odd year between high school and college, and getting a meaningful internship is really, really hard. But all our son had to do was reach out to Maite and tell her that he would be really interested in working for the Department of Defense. And as far as I could see, she pretty much arranged everything for him to have a meaningful internship. And then also he was able to network with other RSI alum, and that resulted in his first Europe experiences at MIT, where a prior RSI alum pulled him right in and actually got him working in Europe right away, even not technically, but kind of unofficially, maybe before he started, but certainly in that first semester when maybe you weren't really supposed to do that. A Europe is, my son is reminding me, is not something everybody would know what it is, but that is basically an undergraduate research internship at MIT. And then through that also was introduced to a large asset management company, which led to another internship. So, and I'm sure that Evan will have more to say on that topic, but that just scratches the surface. And as far as I can see, these will be lifelong friendships and networking opportunities for our son, for which I am extremely grateful.
Thank you. So next we'll hear from Sarah MEINDL.
Hi, everyone. Welcome to the wonderful RSI community. It's really an amazing place that we are very proud to be a part of. My son, Jamie, who's sitting next to me, it was part of the RSI class of 2019, and you'll hear from him later, so I'll let him do his spiel then. But from my perspective, it's just been an amazing, being part of CEE and RSI has been an amazing community. And the CEE staff was incredibly helpful as far as getting your kids ready to apply for college. And they advise on academics and, as people said, internships and the college selection process, as well as providing very valuable college recommendation letters so your kids will be learning about that some more in the coming months as they prepare to do their applications. There's also a college preparation Zoom that they put into place this year that you can watch after the fact that has some very valuable information. So welcome, and we'll have plenty of time for questions later too. Jennifer is next.
Hello, everyone. Welcome to the Zoom today. I have two scholars. The first one is Wade Wallig. He was the class of 2020. He was the year that it was virtual, but had an amazing experience. He is currently a rising sophomore at Yale. And I have Patrick, who is on this call. He just finished RSI 2022. We are from Falmouth, Maine. I wanted to share a couple benefits of being part of this community. The first is really for the students, and that is the opportunity for them to be with like-minded peers for the summer. They push each other, they're curious about each other's work, and they're so supportive of each other. And just being in that environment, I think, takes their work to the next level. The second benefit that I wanted to talk about is when my kids left for RSI, they thought they had a solid understanding of the topic that they would study. When they came home from RSI, their minds were broadened. They saw their interest through another lens. They took their projects to places that they didn't know existed. And I think that that would have only happened in that environment.
Okay, and our last parent to speak is Sanjay Palsamudram, who will give us the international perspective.
Thank you, Susan. Good afternoon, everyone. It's an absolute pleasure to be here today. My daughter, Tanvi Palsamudram, was an RSI scholar, class of 20, and she was one of the first batches which have, because of COVID, going through virtually. Because it was a virtual program, we as parents definitely got a better glimpse of what exactly they do, unlike every other class where they're off to MIT and we can only hear through them about their experiences. So we had the opportunity to really understand what they go through, and my goodness, as much as you would want them to learn, the kind of supportive and collaborative push they get to be able to achieve what they can in 6 weeks time period is just unbelievable. I think kids kind of realize how much more they can do. Apart from the program itself, as an international parent and an international scholar, we got exposed to so many different aspects of benefits from CEE. It is almost unimaginable. To state a few, Maite and Joanne introduced us to a few parents who had just recently gone through college admissions process. And they were very, very supportive in listening to us and offering their feedback, their experiences, and tips and some special nuggets, which is impossible to find through unlimited internet search or talking to any counselor. And no parent can be a better counselor than an external one, because they know their child and they would do the best research. So hearing from a successful scholar's parent tips is unbelievably good. Secondly, the relationship after RSI with the professors only continued, and my daughter had 2 Harvard professors as her mentors, and somehow she decided Brown is the right university for her, and the professors actually guided her, letting her apply to Brown, but they liked her enough to continue to research with them, even though she continues to study at Brown. So she works with the 2 Harvard professors even today after 2 years. And even this current summer, right now in Boston, she's working as a paid research assistant with the same professors. And given her interest in wanting to apply to med school, the professors were very, very kind and generous to arrange for a shadowing experience in a Veterans Affairs hospital in Boston, which is unimaginable given the COVID situation right now for a pre-med student to get such an experience. Thirdly, given the interest she has had in med school for the future, they've introduced us to CEE, has introduced us to international doctors to get an exposure of how the different systems in different countries would work. And She has had 3 live surgery within an operation theater experience as a freshman in India, which I can't imagine that would be easily possible without the RSI Connect. So I have pledged myself to CEE that time, talent, and treasure are 3 very most important things. And treasure, I believe, is somehow relatively, in my opinion, is easier to get, but time and talent from parent community is hard. But I have pledged my support to RSI, and I'm involved in helping more students from India benefit. And hopefully you guys will see something in the future which will help more than 1 student from India per year benefit. I'll wait for that event to occur, but nevertheless, I request every parent here to not only see the benefit, what they could get from this network from RSI, but I request everyone to be a part of it and contribute to CEE, because not only my daughter has benefited because of my interactions with CEE and multiple parents, I have networked with multiple parents as well, and it has led to many meaningful relationships for me too. So I'll pause here and there'll be questions I'm happy to answer, but I can go on for the next hour and talk about all the benefits our RSI scholars can get from CEE, and it's really endless.
Thank you. So now that you've heard from the parents, we're going to hear from the scholars. We're going to do these again the same way as we did the parents, from farthest back to most recent. So we'll be starting with Jake Wildstrom.
Yes, so of the scholars who are on the call today, I am perhaps the one who is furthest out from RSI and presumably furthest into establishing my career. I was a Rickoid in 1997 as a student. I returned to RSI in several other roles over the years. Yeah, what people have spoken about with regards to a community, that RSI plugs you into a community of scholars, is very much true. Both the people one associated with at RSI and the common community one builds with those people. If you go into any field of mathematics, science, or engineering, you're never more than 2 levels of connection, it seems, away from a Rickoid somewhere. That, you speak to someone, you're talking about mutual friends, and you find that some Rickoid from some other year, maybe one that you knew if you returned to RSI as staff, as I did, is a mutual acquaintance of the 2 of you. So a little bit more about sort of where my career has gone and how RSI has continued to play a role in that career. I am at this point an associate professor of mathematics at the University of Louisville. I continued doing math until I ran out of degrees to get and had to get a real job. I did my undergrad at MIT and my grad work at UC San Diego, and I've been at Louisville since 2007. So at this point, my career is pretty much stable and in the realm specifically of mathematics for the most part. And absolutely on my way to getting where I am now, there were a lot of ways that RSI helped me, that my associations with RSI affiliates really gave me, a leg up. People have talked about the recommendations which have been given. I just want to give a snapshot of, all the ways I've continued to connect with RSI. To start with, when I first went to MIT as an undergrad, naturally, some of the people I knew best were Rickoids, and in fact, my freshman year roommate was a Rickoid. I continued to be what's known in RSI parlance, or was at the time, it's been a while, as a nobody, someone who liked being part of the RSI social scene and getting to see what the scholars are up to every year. Nobodies often help out a lot with sort of event planning, keeping the students well-oriented and knowing what's going on at MIT. They're also often very major promoters of MIT or whatever school they're at, usually MIT or Harvard, because it's in the Boston area. So for many years, I stayed involved in an unofficial capacity, just sort of building connections with various RSI affiliates. My first official involvement was actually in 2004. At that point, I was at UC San Diego. There was a pilot program on the West Coast at Caltech, and I was the technical administrator. So that was a great thing to be connected with, to get to see a number of old staff friends over again. When I was a Rickoid myself, my tutor was Dr. John Rickert, who I got to see again then and have gotten to see again many times since, as it turns out. Because, of course, after I went to the University of Louisville, Dr. Rickert works at Rose-Hulman Institute of Technology just up the road a piece. So I've had opportunities to connect very warmly with a friend from my RSI path. I also served at the Boston campus on 2 separate occasions, as a professor in 2009 and as a tutor in 2011. I used to go to the RSI Christmas party every year. It was rather more convenient when I lived in the DC area, I'm afraid. But there I renewed the social connections I had with Rickoids, both from my year and from the previous and future years. So these RSI does give you lifelong friends. And I know I was only supposed to keep it to a few minutes. I feel like I am probably going over my time here, but it's true. Every time I've gotten connected with RSI, I've just made more friends. People I connected with as a tutor in 2011 when I was tutoring at the Boston campus. I see them occasionally at conferences, and I get to see that they have become mathematical scholars in their own right. And that's just wonderful that there is a community and there is such perpetuation of that community.
Okay, thank you. Next, we will have Yuxing Shi.
Hello, I am Yuqing. I was from RSI 2017. I recently graduated from MIT in physics and math, and I am now about to start my PhD also at MIT in CS. And I just wanted to say that RSI really opened my eyes to a lot of things that other people are doing. Like, for example, I think before RSI, I never really heard that much about machine learning, and now I'm about to do research in machine learning. And I also think I've made like a lot of friends. It's always very cool to run into someone and be like, oh, you also went to RSI. That's really cool. And it's always like a starting point, you know, to talk about things. I also, I guess, from being at MIT, I've also met, you know, many other Rickoids in some of the clubs that I've been in. For example, in my a cappella group, one of the other members is a former RSI, and I've competed with Sanjay, who I forget what year he is, but I've competed with him in the physics competition at MIT, and I've really, it's, yeah, and yeah, I think it's just a really great opportunity, and I am glad I had the opportunity, or I am glad I had the experience.
Thank you. So next it'll be Evan Vogelbaum.
Yep. Howdy, y'all. I'm Evan. I was RSI class of 18. I loved it so much I came back as a counselor for class of 19. I was actually Jamie's counselor. And now I'm a current undergraduate at MIT. I'm glad to see that the RSI to MIT pipeline seems to be very strong. I think all of the Rickoids who are either in or have been undergraduates are MIT here. So that's awesome to see. Let's keep that going. So yeah, RSI has been tremendously helpful to me. I think my mom touched on a couple of points. My first year up at MIT, the one that really got my research career going, was just because I reached out to a former Rickoid and he kind of took me under his wing, even though I didn't know the first thing about what meta learning was. And honestly, even though I thought I knew machine learning, I really didn't know that much about it at the time. He really helped look out for me and, you know, led me through an amazing research experience. I got a first author paper out there with him. And then, you know, as my mom had mentioned, I ended up doing an internship with the DoD, thanks to Maite and thanks to RSI's connection there. I ended up being connected with a former mentor, a mentor for 18 who worked at an investment fund when I wanted to explore financial careers. And she helped me to get an internship at a Boston investment firm. which was really great. So the RSI, connection web is kind of everywhere. I completely agree with the statement that I think somebody said that, an RSI connection seems to be no more than 1 or 2 people away. That's probably going to be true for all of us for the rest of our lives. And I've been trying to just make sure that that connection stays strong. I've been keeping in contact with people from my year, people from, Jamie's year, people from the years before me. And I can't wait to see, where the RSI community goes from here. I'm so happy to welcome all of our new members.
Thank you. Next, we'll hear from Jamie MEINDL.
Hi, everyone. I'm Jamie. I'm a rising junior at MIT currently. I was RSI 19, as Evan said. He stole one of my fun facts, which was that he was my counselor. But the other one is that Aaron Kesselheim was my mentor. So a lot of people connected on this call today. Yeah, I'm studying computer science right now. And I guess the one thing I wanted to emphasize, a lot of people have already said this already, but I think the lifelong friends and just the really interesting people that you meet at RSI, I think is really key to my development as a person, and just, really growing into kind of just like learning and research, and just being able to succeed. I think it's really beneficial to meet all these great people and develop these lifelong friendships.
Thank you. And our last speaker will be Patrick Wallig, who has actually just returned from RSI 2022.
Yeah, so I'm Patrick Wallig. I was, of course, RSI 2022, which thankfully was in person, and I'll be a senior at Falmouth High School in Maine this year. And I guess at the end of the day, RSI, it really was a life-changing experience. I had some amazing and talented peers, and I got paired with an especially motivating mentor and lab, and they helped me make the most of that experience. And the staff was also super supportive. Their past RSI experiences kind of got me comfortable with the program and allowed me to maintain confidence throughout it. And what's really awesome is that I'll be able to continue my RSI research outside of that 6-week program. So by staying in touch with the mentor, I'm going to continue cleaning up my paper and the computer program I wrote, which models the impacts of ocean acidification on shellfish in Massachusetts Bay. So looking forward to that.
Okay, thank you. One thing that none of you mentioned, but I think several of you probably were involved with, is your projects from the summer often turned into projects that were able to be competed in the assortment of wonderful scholarship offering competitions, such as it used to be Westinghouse, then it became Intel, and now I believe it's Regeneron. And RSI often has finalists in those competitions. Meanwhile, now that you've heard from all of us, we'd like to address some of your questions.
Hi, Susan. So yeah, my daughter, actually, Helena Jane was the same year as Jimmy. Jimmy, hi, how are you? Yeah, Jimmy visited my home a few years ago, right? So they have very, all these scholars, they have a good relationship, networking with each other. Her 2 classmates are also RSI alumni the same year. So they are very close friends. Actually, my daughter, she's a rising junior at Harvard. And also, she's working at the internship in New York City now. Yesterday, they have quite a few RSI friends. They gathered together. They visited, Central Park. So that's a kind of like example, for this lifelong and very close friendship. That's one thing really, really important, I think, for these kids. And also, Suzanne just mentioned about the Regeneron and other, fellowship and other scientific and STEM-based computation. Actually, yeah, I have nearly 20 years of experience with these different, volunteering or chairing these different sessions at ISAF, at Regeneron. So yeah, if you have any question, I will be happy to answer those. But actually, my daughter's experience that, tells me the research experience at RSI will be greatly enhance the opportunity for many of these opportunities. So like STS or even the ISAF. So if you have any question regarding that, I would be happy to answer.
Some questions about how to get involved, and that's actually a perfect segue. Jennifer Wallig is going to speak a little bit about that and what we do as a part of the Parents Committee. So I'm going to let her speak about how, touch on some volunteering opportunities and potential events for parents, and also supporting CEE and RSI financially.
Hi, I wanted to just talk about the Parent Committee and formally invite all of our new parents to the Parent Committee to become members. The current class is obviously a bunch of rising seniors, and if you're looking for a way to stay connected with what they're doing, this is a great way to do it. We meet several times a year to discuss RSI and/or the USABO programs. We provide feedback to the board and the staff. We host events such as the college transition Zooms or welcome Zooms like this one. The Parents Committee is a great forum for asking other parents questions. It's a community and network of parents who have children with similar pathways and needs. It's a great resource when looking at colleges, internships, or just for dealing with high-achieving teenagers. We also work with the CEE to support its annual fund. The annual fund is one of the most important ways that we can support the CEE to continue to provide these amazing opportunities for these talented students. And if anyone would like to get some more information on how to join us, we would love to have you. Thank you.
Thank you, Jennifer. So as far as specifically addressing making a donation, you can do it online. Is there an existing social media group for RSI parents, such as Facebook? There is not, but we've found that, when we just, we have the meetings, the Zoom meetings that we've done, or just reaching out to each other via email. We're always happy to, answer questions and, work with, or, help you, guide you through whatever process you're going through, college-wise or just internship-wise.
There are a lot of social media outlets that are associated with CEE and RSI. It would probably be helpful for all of you parents to have links that allowed you to get to those.
Hi, Susan. Thank you. And good afternoon, everybody. So grateful to have you here. Do you know we have 60 at the height of the attendance, we had 67 people on this Zoom, and we are so grateful for your attendance and to have you as part of our family. I will send our social media links to the group, to all the parents, so I can give you all of the important social media. There is Center for Excellence in Education, Facebook, and then also on LinkedIn. And those are two of the ways to keep up to date with everything that we have going on at the center. And then you would also see a lot of our press releases that way. Also, somebody asked a question about the best way to make a gift, and I'd just like to say thank you in advance. It is the reason we all come to work at the center is to keep our programs free of cost to our participants. It is very important to us. So I have in the chat section included the link to making a gift, and it is www.cee.org/donate. You can always call me in my office at 571-215-7799. I wish more parents would call me because I would always be so pleased to make your acquaintance that way until we can meet in person. And then you can also always email me. And I think at this point you've received emails from me, but cfarmer, F-A-R-M-E-R @cee.org. But if for some reason you don't get some information that you need, I would strongly encourage you to send me an email or give me a phone call. And I'll turn it back over to Susan.
Okay, do we have any more questions?
There is a question. So for rising seniors, The college application is the most immediate issue. Who should we contact if we would like to seek assistance? And Charles, you maybe can address this the best, but I know that CEE reaches out to the students and works with them on the letters that they are going to, that CEE writes on their behalf. So it's mostly it's between the students and CEE is from our experience.
Thank you, Sarah. Yes, Maite and/or Joanne will be in touch about the letters. We take it very seriously, so don't worry. We will get in touch with you at the proper time, and we make sure everyone is taken care of in the way that we can. So we do take that very seriously. And just to put everybody's mind at ease, our letters actually make a difference. This is another benefit of our programming. Universities look for our letters because they know of the quality of our scholars. So Maite or Joanne will be in touch with you about those letters. Thank you, Sarah.
Please do not hesitate. As you see, there's tons of emails here. Please do not hesitate. All of us are so happy to talk to you about RSI and just the college experience in general. I know it's an emotional, exciting, crazy time. You might not have a question right now, but you might in 2 weeks or a month. Please do not hesitate to reach out to this amazing network. We are here for you. And one thing I can promise you is that it seems daunting, when they're writing those essays and trying to figure out what they want to do, but it works out and your scholars will end up in the absolute right place for them and grow in so many more ways than they have even from this summer. It will just keep going and get even better.
I want to thank all of you. I'd like to thank the committee parents who have done such a wonderful job planning and preparing for this meeting. They are a resource for all the rest of you that are on this call. The committee parents are a wonderful resource, and they have already offered. I thank you for that. They've offered to field questions in the future, and I urge you to take advantage of that. They are just wonderful folks who are happy to help, and I think they're a great. They give you a great insight, a great window into this community that we're talking about. What your family now is part of. And so thank you to all of you that are on the committee for all of your hard work and for this Zoom call. Thank you.
And for your leadership, Doug. So we appreciate the leadership that you and Charles give to us as a committee. And we do encourage, a number of you parents have said that you're interested in being part of our committee. So do contact us, and we will quickly assign you some task or make you attend a meeting or two, and hopefully that will enhance our programs. Anyway, we want to thank you for spending an hour with us, almost an hour.